What's up, everybody? Happy Sunday night. We got a little Jupiter up here with some cool lunar, like Jovian moon config. I had the names up earlier, but off screen, I want to say it is Ganymede, and then it's Europa, Io, no, C. Callisto is all the way bottom off screen, and then it's Europa, Io, Ganymede from the bottom up, and then Jupiter, of course. No red storm, but still a pretty good view, and it's still rising, so it's going to get nice and sharp, and then I'm going to switch it up to the 3x. Hopping in the chat room real quick. What's happening? What's up, Jello? What's up, Sharon? What's up, Vision? Evening, bud. What's up, Justin? What's happening, Nancy? And Jackie? Evening to you all. Nice and early for Jupiter, huh? 10:30. I really hope we get a shot of the Great Red Storm. I don't even know. I'm not even checking Stellarium anymore. I'm going to just let it show up. I'm going to throw y'all a new tune. Played a couple of times tonight, but since you're early, you'll get the taste. This is it's still obviously work in progress, but it's called Repeat Parties. Yo, what's up everybody? A couple of new tunes there. Got that 3X going right now. Still some atmospheric turbulence, but really nice shot. Pretty crisp throughout, and it's an interesting combo of things. There's always something with the sky, but Jupiter's looking great. You can see the very fine bands even underneath on the lighter area. And I feel like the curls on the upper, like red storm, are going to start or the like reddish band, going to start creeping in a little bit as it gets clearer. Pretty sweet. I'm looking for a track right here. Like this one. What's up there, Douglas Perry? What's up, Mary? What's up, Timothy Martin? Let me know if I missed you. So let me know in the chat if you understood what I meant in my in the title, Popsci with Obsci. I know maybe it's too silly and you all got it, but I think it's kind of clever. I don't know, I just realized today, like, there's so much complaining and so little creating, and I felt like I'm just gonna kind of work on that energy after my rant last night. Like, there's so much to complain and to lament, but time better spent on making some new stuff. So I wrote some music today, made some food, and now I'm streaming some Jupiter, and I encourage us all to kind of do the same sort of thing. That's how we propagate the positivity forward. Flat Earth Mother says, hey, how is Jupiter always fully illuminated but its moons have cycles? I gotta be honest, I don't have an answer to that. It's just an interesting phenomenon. I constantly question where Jupiter is and how big it is and how it works in general, so I can't really answer that. But I will say that when I scope Jupiter, it seems like it's always at 99% phase. You can kind of see the upper right corner a little bit which would be the terminator line on the moon. So it's not necessarily full, but it's usually at kind of 99. There's some sort of curve, dare I say curve to it. And then, yeah, that's what I think. I feel like the little moons cast different types of shadows, and they catch shadows differently, especially compared to how large Jupiter should be. And then I probably feel like Jupiter is on some sort of orbit that we see it on, and that's why it doesn't go out of phase or constantly stays in phase. It's funny that those same words are due to like used in audio production as well. What up, Rockstar? How's it going? Truther Dave says, yeah, why would Venus cycle but none of the other planets do? That's not true, actually. I think like Neptune does, and Saturn does interesting things as well. If you look at Damian Peach's pictures of Saturn over 20 years, you see that Saturn shifts its rings towards us and away from us. And I would say that Mercury is too hard to tell. Like, it's too small to see from, it's barely visible from Earth, and when you do see it, it's too small. I would say that there was this old map once when I was into the geocentric model for like 2 weeks that I saw that it had Venus really close to Earth and like right next to the moon, like in these two kind of cellular layers right outside of Earth. So maybe, you know, Venus is really small and really close. But at the same time, you know, in Thunderbolts and Electric Universe, Venus was a comet. So I don't know what trajectory Venus is actually on. You know, popular science likes to claim they know all these things, or it's implied that they know all the reasons why. But I'll be honest, I'm kind of just thinking about it from a fresh perspective, just looking at it. And that's why my answer to Jupiter, for example, is a very one-to-one answer. Like, you're looking at Jupiter with me. I don't know, why do you think that the moons have their phases and Jupiter doesn't have its phase? Yeah, what up, Keith? Good to see you, brother. What up, Black Cherubim? Chill time. Hope everybody's having a good night. What up, eat all your fish? Yeah, so I've been deep diving on the Eric P. Dollard stuff, and I was also looking at some of the moon. I was kind of going through the NASA videos today, just seeing what they've been talking about with the moon, because I kind of like to stay on top of it every 2 years or so, every 3 years or so. It's very fascinating, like, the dialogue remains around this topic, and it never edges into, you know, possible other ways of getting there, or solar radiation, or you know, the miraculous achievement of Apollo, whether you believe it or not. Like, just that whole thing is just such an incredible thing, and it's talked about like it's ridiculous. Like, I don't know, I don't want to say ridiculous. It's like, it's talked about as if it were some sort of, you know, war that we had on Earth or some sort of famine. But landing on the moon is so much more incredible and impressive than that it feels like it's talked about so oddly. So I was listening to a lot of that. I was listening to this guy talk about how he thinks that this whole 2024 initiative is really not going to land us on the moon, because it's actually going to create an orbiting station around the moon, and that's not really landing. So landing could take a much longer. Just kind of depressing, given the state of affairs as we get older. Just thinking that and hoping that we'd be living in a spacefaring civilization at this point. But yeah, I was going through that. So if you have any questions or thoughts on it, let me know. I'll play some new tunes here, more stuff. How about... Whoops, lost Jupiter for a second. Got a little distracted. The tracking is a bit off tonight, but whatever, I'm not going to reset it. Midget Housewives. Let's see. Keith sending me a link, Science Direct. Lunar surface mineralogy using hyperspectral data, implications for primordial crust in the Earth-Moon system. Oh, that's in reference to like the shiny spots on the moon. Cool. Yeah, I'll definitely take a look at that. Thank you. What up there, Caveman Smash? Caveman Smash? Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I can't wait for the next moon cycle. Speaking of which, it's the new moon today, June 2nd, and yeah, it's been a really interesting and beautiful day. Reconnected with some family after a long time. Getting some really interesting detail on the upper and lower halves of Jupiter, just the brighter regions. There's a lot of dotted like speckling. It's really nice. No doubt, Keith. You probably noticed, but I can only do like pretty much right up to the like about the full moon, and then after that for about a week. My backyard setup is just not working lately. Lost 2 computers to just age and melting, so that really hinders me. And yeah, but it's cool. Full moon on is like a good amount of time, especially the 11 is really stable. I get to sit inside. But yeah, I'm interested. I was checking out some camera gear for the first time in a long time, and just getting a little hyped, like setting up for the next couple years of the new camera wave when they like basically double the megapixels. But that's still a ways away. What's up, Jen? Skingus.
Blue heart.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's cool. I think the tech cycle kind of speaks to me sometimes, especially with this whole scope thing. Getting geared up from 2015 through like 2017 was such an interesting learning experience. So I'm kind of gonna hold off. Also, you realize like what it really takes to get the different shots, and then now I kind of know what I need. And in fact, to be honest, this is like just an unbelievable shot anyway. Just looking at Jupiter, this is already something I could enjoy for at least a few years before really needing a better image. Because, you know, depending on the weather or the clarity of the sky, or getting a few, like maybe a nicer, like I think the Televue Barlows are actually pretty top of the line. I know there are some slightly more expensive ones, but really ultimately, until we get some of that laser collimator stuff, what is it, laser focus. I keep forgetting the name of that technology, but I'm gonna check it real quick. I used to know it off the top of my head for some reason. Adaptive optics, that's what it is. Damn. Reinsert it into my mind. Yeah, so adaptive optics systems where you can have like a little laser pointed at the moon, for example, and then it beams it back to your scope. Beams it back to a camera attached to a computer, and the computer resolves the turbulence, and then I guess uses that turbulence algorithm to focus the image that the other camera is getting of the moon. So it allows you to basically take this unbelievably crisp shot of the same thing that we capture right now, but just really clear, and that just changes the entire view. Like right now, our eyes and our brains get accustomed to atmospheric turbulence and clouds and kind of dimness and all sorts of other things like ambient light and magnification. But can you imagine this shot, but just really, really clear? It would be for an extended period of time, because the computer would be kind of working out the focus on the fly. That's adaptive optics, and like, I don't think, you know, right now it's what, like $250,000 at laboratories, you know, so it's not really consumer, but maybe 10, 20 years, have like something like that on some, like baked into a Celestron, maybe. Yeah, the other thing is like buying computers, man, is I bought so many computers, and like having to set up in the backyard without laptops is really a pain in the ass. So at some point I'll have to redo it, but it's really nice. Like I get to sit in the backyard and watch, you know, Jupiter go across the sky, and I think, oh, it would be nice to stream this, but it's also good to sit and watch. Anyway, getting nice crispy shots of Jupiter right here. Kind of like one of the more different views, I want to say, in the last week, especially kind of the speckling or whatever, the little pearl storms in the brighter areas on the top and bottom. I know somebody had a question earlier about the auroras that we see in those pictures. That's something that's really hard to see, probably, especially with atmospheric interaction and ambient light and all sorts of stuff. But I feel like it might be possible at this magnification level with really clear skies and like up on a mountain, possibly. I mean, I know if you type in adaptive optics into like OptCore or one of those sites, there is this little thing, like I actually have an atmospheric corrector, but it's very different when it actually registers into a computer, and then the algorithm kind of like adjusts for the turbulence on the fly. There's one thing, but you will find this adaptive optics, quote unquote, like little mirror thing where you kind of use the little dials to adjust for reduction of chromatic aberration. So for example, like right now Jupiter's pretty good, but when Jupiter sets in the west, you get tons of blue and orange fringing. So the atmospheric dispersion corrector, if you adjust the kind of prism, you can like remove that in real time. But I did a couple of streams with it back in 2017, and it wasn't really like, it was kind of more trouble than it was worth ultimately, because just having this extra piece of glass that's not super duper focused, you know, just to get rid of that fringing, which I could just do by desaturating. I gotta say, when I started like the Nexstar 8 and I didn't have any Barlows and I had the Sony a6000, the view of Jupiter, like from then to what we're looking at here, man, look at that. Like the weather just got kind of, it's just super duper hot, so I feel like I'm getting a lot of that right now. But anyway, yeah, still this shot of Jupiter like almost full screen with detail is something that I kind of dreamt of when I first started, and that's only a few years back. So dreams can happen in short periods. Anyway, while I remember, I just want to reiterate a couple of things I said yesterday, just because that's how you really change things, by saying them over and over and over again until people get it. But leaving snarky comments for anyone in YouTube comments, if you're a real person and not a bot, is just like really such a useless and unproductive way to move forward if we ever want peace and working things out. Even if you feel like writing a snarky comment, admonishing somebody for their beliefs, or judging people who you don't know outright by being rude to them, or by making the quippiest quip possible so that other quippy people can come and thumbs up your idiotic comment, that really just hurts people who are just questioning things, and hurts older people who just sit online all day, and or kids who get online and want to learn new things, and they ask questions that they're curious about, and it might sound silly to you, but writing something really snarky and awful to them is just totally useless and such a waste of your time, and ultimately ends conversations. And that's why we end up in places where like people can't agree on anything. So I just want to put it out there. I just don't want to see those comments anymore, and I still want to get on YouTube and research stuff, so you can't just avoid life, so you got to put it out there. And I don't know, I'm not speaking to anyone directly in my chat room, of course. I'm just speaking out. And then further than that, what drives me crazy is these kind of snippet, super edited science videos that somehow have just taken on this new form, this aggressive, like shouting science at people in these little sound bites. And I know that a lot of them can be sincere, you know, not everybody is just like a paid shill. You know, I'm just joking, but like, you know, some people are just paid by companies to make money, and they just feel like this is the new MO where you have to like speak really quickly and have silly thumbnails. And you have to make faces and eat hot peppers, hot chili peppers, and do stupid shit in a thumbnail in order to sell clicks. And that's just really not where science should be. So I'm putting it out there that I just want to see, like, really, it doesn't have to be serious. Science can be fun, but it doesn't have to be idiotic and clickbaity, and it doesn't have to be, you know, 2-minute science, and it doesn't have to be like eyeballs up to the camera on a fisheye lens and just like yelling at people and telling them they're stupid. So those are two things I hope for the world. Now I'm gonna shut up for a little bit and let that simmer, and check out those amazing storms on the upper band creeping in the middle, like doing some nice fractal Mandelbrottian work. Mandelbro. Thanks, Jackie. I appreciate that. What's up there, Corina Elizondo? Hearts. Rock's turtle is evil. Evil turt. Yeah, I don't know. I feel kind of just encouraged by watching Eric Dollard, and then just seeing, more and more people understand that fundamentally we're living in a connected and positive, or maybe not positive entirely, but like a nicely generative universe that we control, and somebody said something today that was interesting, even on that moon chat, which was kind of getting me all crazy, but I had to sit through it just for a little bit. And this guy was talking about how his name isn't Zorba. It's reminding me of Zorba, but it's not. It's like Zorbin or something. I'm gonna figure out this guy's name real quick, but. Just the amount of intake of information lately is just getting me a little foggy, plus all the 5G stuff, you know what I mean? I know, Jello, yesterday you were saying that I was complaining about 5G while also being in front of, being fried by 5G right now. I see it's not lost on me. That's all I'll say. You gotta live life, to some degree. I know what it is. And I don't really want to sit and promote channels that I don't really agree with, but it's the Mars, what is it? Mars Society? Yeah, Robert Zubrin. I don't know if y'all have heard of him. Oh yeah, Keith, the moons are hanging out. Here, I'll do a wide shot real quick while I'm talking. Yeah, so Zubrin is he's a passionate dude. He was talking about a lot of things that kind of trigger me, but or just annoy me in terms of, this is all settled science, and these are light years, and this is blah, and this is blah. But at least he was talking about the moon mission that's proposed right now is something that might not really get us landed on the moon for a long, long time. And that's, like I said, it's not necessarily depressing, but really I consider this all the time when I do the stream, and every day pretty much is what do I want out of space and the world, for example. And I was going to say that tonight. I mean, that was actually one of the first things I wanted to say was what does everybody really want? Even when you go after conspiracies like ufology or flat earth or hollow earth, what is it after that? Once that truth is understood to you, is it about evangelism, about getting everyone else to agree with you, or is it about discovery, or is it about self-satisfaction or vindication that you've been right all along? And so I've been kind of contemplating that line of thinking. But more further than that, so this guy Zubrin, who again, I'm not trying to push his work, but he said something interesting. He said the government agencies seem like they're out there doing their own thing, and you have to kind of demand what you want them to do. So for example, we sit and watch NASA. I mean, I'm part of it too. I watch them do these things, and in a way, in my mind, I'm complaining. I'm like, why don't they do this, and why don't they do that, and why don't they do this? But in fact, I don't really have an alternative. I just have a complaint, So partially what I'm doing, with the title, the Obsci, observational science, is something that I can actually do, which is I can provide observational science to the community. Further, I can, provide good energy and positive vibes and cool, chat and music, but really, in terms of activism, I can provide citizen observational science. So it's really I decided that I'm gonna go for something really, I've been doing it obviously, but I wanted to figure out why it is that I do this, What do I want people to take away from it? And so I kind of urge everyone to kind of think about that in that way and figure out what is it that you really want the world to do? What do you want NASA to actually do? Do you want them to land on the moon? Do you want them to walk on the moon? Do you want them to send dogs to the moon? Do you not want them to go to the moon? So there's that. So it's not even, and further, he was also saying that it's going to be citizen scientists and the public who are actually going to who should either demand that the public, that the space program be opened up to civilians, or just start working on that towards, the next 50, 100 years to turn it into a public venture where it's not several private companies and NASA that hold the keys to space, because they're their own business. And it's just looked at as if they owe us something, but they don't really owe us. Actually, that's not necessarily true. We do pay taxes, but in fact, we just don't demand a specific thing, so we're not getting anything specific. What up there, Outdoor Corey? Yeah, so I was just going off on a little tangent over there, talking about just intention and doing something instead of complaining. For example, I've said this definitely in the past. It's something I've definitely held myself to over the course of TakeBackSpace, of like really trying not to complain and point fingers at other space agencies and say that, oh, you're doing such a bad job. Because like it's good people working there too. Just because the head of the organization wants to do things that we might not agree with, doesn't mean that everybody who works there is bad, So I've really tried to stay measured about it. But the fact of the matter is, I would love to live in a world where we have a space program that's open. So what I'm doing here right now is I'm actually saying that specifically. And I feel like maybe I'm urging everybody to really say that specifically on your channel, on your show, in your book, in your blog, to your friends. Like, say specifically what it is you want. I know that. Let's see. Like, I know that not everybody in this channel or like who comes and watches these videos like is really interested necessarily in astronomy or science. Sometimes it's just for chill, which is perfectly fine. But people who are interested and talk about that, damn, a lot of ums and uhs tonight. People who do talk about it often, I encourage to talk about it with conviction and accuracy and intent, hoping that we really get somewhere, So that's what I want. I want an open space program for the public. I want citizen scientists. And I'd like us to land on the moon. It would be amazing to land people and women and everybody, who wants to go to the moon should be allowed to go to the moon. And funding for movies should be switched over to our space program, because really, at least the one couple of things a few things that I do agree with Zubrin on is this whole idea that we keep delaying the process, but really we should go to the moon. There's a very strong case to be made that it will encourage a lot of growth, a huge industry. It'll get people excited. It's a massive unification tool. There are tons of resources on the moon. It's our history, it's life. It's something that we can use as a stepping stone. Many, many very good reasons, and those reasons have been around for a long time. And not just, I'm not the first to say it, obviously, and but it's just not said enough. I feel like there's so many more, like, picking, like what I said about the comment section. It's, there's that, and then further than that, then there's like when you actually do have a scientific conversation, there's a lot of closed-mindedness and ego going on, especially among the elite and the professors. They don't want to really talk about science at all. They just want to have beers. So I'm talking about it. So I want our agencies open. I want space to be open. I want, space industry to thrive in my lifetime. I'm putting out those vibes. And no more space junk, man. Like, we gotta say no more space junk. Like, this whole idea that they're launching, I know that, it's super sacrilege and crazy to talk about all these people and these very powerful people on Earth, but it's really insane that we have this problem of looking up at the sky with all this pollution and ambient light, and now we're gonna have thousands of satellites to create broadband and more internet on Earth, which we kind of don't really need, to be honest. Like, there's this idea of the capitalist mentality of, yes, everywhere in every jungle and every desert and doctors and blah, blah, blah need internet from satellites, but really we don't. Simple. We actually don't. At least we don't in a private program where we don't know what these satellites are made of. We have no idea how to send them up ourselves. We have no idea how to clean them up, and they just burn up in the atmosphere, and then we get this bullshit article again and again and again about how there's space junk. and how we put space junk up in the atmosphere. But I'm going to be the person that says I'm not putting space junk up there. I don't support that. It's just so irritating. Same articles, it's almost like a time loop in a way. Blah, 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 space junk. Blah, 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 space junk. And then the next article is Mr. So-and-so puts, 1,000 pieces of metal, hunks of metal in the sky to give us more broadband than space junk. And it's always pointing the flinger. It's pointing your goddamn flinger at mankind. What the hell? Like, it's not us. It's an elite group of people that just want to put these satellites up in there and get some sort of more spying on us, but it's unnecessary and we don't need it. It's always so wishy-washy, that's the whole thing. Like, I hear these podcasts where they're like, well, do you think that maybe that we shouldn't be, maybe that possibly shouldn't be sending tons of spy satellites up there? Yeah, but it's industry. That's what it's always been. It's just business and private corporations. Yeah, it's always and it's played off, and then the music plays off, and all of a sudden, like, you're left with a ton of space junk and things that look like stars in our sky. And looking ahead 10, 20 years, you're gonna need way more than adaptive optics to see the freaking moon or Jupiter. And like, if you don't start now and say like no way, what the hell is this article? It's ridiculous. I gotta say, it's not necessarily true. Like, I think there is this kind of cutoff point where people, like the majority, will realize that I actually think the majority already realizes this. I think that the elite that control the media propagate a message that says that more people believe this than other people. And then if you hear that enough, you start thinking that there's this real kind of 50-50 split on things. But the fact of the matter, actually, in my mind, really, I feel like there's like 95% of people believe something, which is nonviolence, and they just want to work, and they want to play, and they want to screw, and they want to eat good food. And then 5% of people want all those other people to pay for it. It's not the 1% like that, but it's actually a systematic structure. But like, it still doesn't mean that the 95 can't have a say in things. It just means that it's structured like that right now. And saying things like, yeah, it's always been that way, so it's always going to stay that way, is just a ridiculous mentality when we live in this unbelievable world with Jupiter on a camera. Like, what the hell? Really? We're going to go for cliches? It's just such a, all these shows are cliches. In the most positive way, I'm just commenting on them as a fan, as somebody who doesn't want retribution. I want us to go to the moon, I want us to go to Jupiter, I want people to be able to go out there, and I want people to see stars or tell us if there are stars in space, because it's really irritating to live in a crazy world where you can't get simple answers about the environment that we're in. Yeah, but the media has not been corrupted. The media was created by businesses to spread their messages. But they spread the message as a story of democracy and a story of politics, and it's been sold and bought that way. But in fact, it's not. It's a corporation that actually sells you stuff only. And they'll do anything in their power to sell you more stuff. And what's happened is it's corrupted science, at least. Like, it's corrupted a lot of things, but I don't want to take on those kind of racist and sexist themes. I just want to talk about like how people bully each other in science, and how people like Neil deGrasse Tyson created that atmosphere of bullying people. And not that one person can't be wrong and one person can't be right, but it doesn't mean that you're better than that person. It doesn't mean that you should insult somebody because you might know something that they don't. And that's why that guy and people like that reek of non-science to me, which is Popsci. and why like little old me is gonna replace that dude and his opinions with observational science like this great red storm that's about to grace us. So cool. It certainly is, Genghis Khan. Thanks for noticing. Yeah, it's not that complicated. It's been sold as this thing that we should believe in because that was the best way to sell the product, you know? And you can't really blame a very powerful system for wanting to sell at the best possible level. But really, ultimately, like, we control this. I'm throwing some catch for old time's sake. Man, I'm dripping. It's so hot. It got so hot. You know, so I can't turn on the AC or the fan up in here, especially because it'll shake the scope. But it gets crazy hot in front of the screen. You know, they're probably trying to cook me, but I'm just gonna say what I'm gonna say. As fast as you can go. Hey, thanks y'all for the nice comments on the music. Ever tried polarizing filter? I have. Like, I gotta be honest, there's not been really one filter that makes it look better than seeing the actual color. For some reason, like when it goes kind of all flat into like a sepia tone or a bluish tone, even though you get a little bit more detail, the whole effect of Jupiter is almost ruined. I don't mean to say that like negatively, but y'all, are you checking out this crazy, like, this thin line on the lower half, like splitting it in two, and there's so much depth on it. So I gotta say, I don't think I've seen it exactly like that before. It almost feels like it's like a thin red line in the way, like coming out of the storm. So it's freaking crazy. But yeah, I think I have tried it with the polarizing. I have like I have an LPR filter, and we can, you know, maybe we can take a look at it through there. But it does something a little bit, yeah. I guess that extra piece of glass just makes it a little bit less clear in a way for me, even though I know it shouldn't. But that's the truth. All right, more new tunes. Yeah, so just recording a little bit of wide footage just to get moons in view, and also I've been meaning to process some of this footage too. I kept a bit of Saturn and I cropped a bit of Jupiter from the other night. So soon I'll get that back into some sharp cap and stack it, get some nice images. So that little thin line is coming through so clearly occasionally. I guess like 70% of the time. It's pretty good tonight, I gotta say. Got to say. I was shaken by the Great night. I was just stepped away for a second to have a smoke, but thanks for stopping by, and I'll catch you on the next one. Sleep well. Have a good week. And what's up, Thomas? Good to see ya.
Stolen by the rock star. Don't know what you're killing for. Staring up at the familiar lights, enormous. Don't make me pay the cost. Don't wanna live another day. Of course, but what does it all mean?
Yeah, what up, Cognition? So Jupes is fading, it's hitting the window. I wish I could go longer, but gonna start winding it down. A few minutes from now. But here's a new track to tide you over. All right, everybody. That's pretty much it for me. I know that was quicker than I thought, but lost the view, and I'm actually getting a little tired. It's been a long day, so it's been a good, fun, good chat, and new tunes, and some awesome Jupiter shots. Awesome shots of Jupiter. We'll see. I'm gonna take a little break and see. Maybe I'll set up the 8-inch and do another little stream, but maybe not. That's what I'm thinking. But otherwise, thanks so much, everybody. Appreciate it. Tom, I know you just showed up, but yeah, I've been going for a bit. Go back and listen. I ranted on about some things earlier. Positivity, intent, and precision in intent. Closing time. Oh yeah. Go out there, do something nice for your fellow person. And have an excellent week. I'll catch you on the next one, maybe tomorrow. Good night, everybody. Thanks.
spot.